So let's get started, right? According to Google, and yes, I did use the dark mode. Uh, it's basically what a person goes through when he's trying a product, right? It can be any product as simple as a pencil to a pen to a very complex calculator. One of the biggest examples of what user experience is or how simple it is to implement is, if you've seen a lot of doors that will have a push and a pull on each side to explain to people what it is. But there was a person who was a father of UX called Donald Norman, who had told that keep the handle in the side you want people to pull, and design a handle in such a way that they can see and understand it is a pull handle. And that's it. It's not very complex. It is basically a mixture of common sense, what the people are used to, and not introducing new stuff until it's absolutely necessary. Basically, what as users we expect any product to be easy to use, and we don't need. The best app is something that does not have that contextual help and some training for you to use it, right? And finally, it should be visually not extravagant, but it should be easy on the eye. It should not be a combination of all the contrast colors that hit your eye really hard. And this section of UX, these elements contribute to a great UX. And if you remember, the revolution in UX was when Airbnb brought its design language along with beautiful shadows and curved corners and illustrative design. So there'll be always some breakthrough once in every 5 to 10 years, and that will become the base design. And I just wanted to add that line because Airbnb has been one of my pinnacle of designs till now. So let's actually clear out the UX versus UI argument. In this, we are going to see primarily what is UX and UX is UI and how to balance between things. We'll also cover stuff like what a UX designer does, roles and responsibilities types, just to give you a high level overview. And finally, we'll move to the UI part of it. So yes, I'll give a very layman's explanation. There is imagine there is a point A and destination B. You have to find out a route that does not have any rivers, that does not have any layouts, that is the shortest and the most efficient. And figuring out that path, doing research and finding out which path is the best suited for that, will all go into UX part of it, right? You are establishing a skeleton from point A to point B for you to establish that this is the best route you can take. Now, UI comes into place where you furnish that route, you flatten that route, you lay a tarmac road on top of that, you set with lights, you put milestones. You basically make that route into a road so that people can travel to and fro. What what you see, the look of it, that's basically the UI part of it, how you conceive it. But how you get to that idea, the amount of research put into it, the amount of thought that goes into whether this is right or wrong, either based on research or based on testing, can be anything. But this whole section is what is the difference between UX and UI. And what we also need to understand is UX is the whole thing, UI is a part of it. UI is always going to, user interface is always going to be a part of the entire UX design. So when you go to office and during lunch you want to go to the canteen to have food, right? What is it that you do? So basically what you do is first you feel hungry, then you think about going down 4 floors or 5 floors or whatever. You approach the lift, you take the lift, you go down, you order food. Now this whole set is called you being hungry and resolving it. But what is involved in this is whether the lift is full or not, how many lifts are there, how long do you have to wait before you get the lift, and how many floors the lift stops before going to your cafeteria floor. Coming to the cafeteria, ordering it, whether your item is available or not, how soon you get it, and how you get the food on the plate, how it looks, you eat it, whether it tastes good. After eating, what are the side effects in your stomach? All of this is a part of user experience, right? And imagine you have a separate lift for a cafeteria, and you can order it from your phone, go down and just collect it and eat it. That is paving the way. That is the user experience part of it, making it better. What is UI is how you perceive it, how you see it. What do you see? Right? If imagine if instead of the lift, if there was you have to jump from floor to floor, that'll be stupid, right? And imagine instead of going one by one and ordering, you have to shout your order from the crowd and everyone will be shouting. So these are the things that can be resolved with UI, right? Your user interface that lets you connect with that particular part. So that the UI is a small part of the entire UX, which is a huge umbrella, right? With UX, you decide how to, when to, and what to. With UI, you decide how to make it look better, how to make it feel better, how to make sure that the user can understand what I do, right? It's as simple as that. Okay, so what a lot of people think is, and by a lot of people, I'm taking a personal example of my company, where developers or some managers usually think that, it's basically you applying some colors and bringing out some design. It's not that difficult. But what we have to keep in mind while creating UX is there is a habit formation, right? The best example for habit formation is having the contextual menu on left top. If you've seen the hamburger menu, uh, think about it. On a phone, the left top is the most difficult place to reach. And we use the menu quite a lot. So why is it not on the right bottom? It's simply because people are used to it and it takes time for you to move from something you are used to. And that is how the habit is formed. Second is usability. Like, for example, how easy is an app to use? Do I need to log in? Do I need to fill the form? Do I need to complete a lot of process before even looking at the app? Or does the app let me look at it? And when it is needed? For example, let's take Ola or Uber. At a point, what happened was you can just go inside the app, you can start booking the cab, and only then it'll ask for your payment details and all that because it was not needed before. So how usable is the app? And ease of access is visually if the users are able to access the most important parts of the app. For example, Paytm is a wallet, and in a wallet you should be able to transact very easily. And currently, that is a priority of Paytm, right? You can add money to the wallet, you can move it around, you can transfer it, and you can transfer it to a bank and so on and so forth. That is the ease of access. It should be very easy to access what the user needs the most. You have to prioritize on that order. Finally, you build a product only when there is as a part of solving a problem, right? There are a lot of things. Like, for example, you see Facebook, you see that there are a lot of problems in Facebook, right? You decide, let me make a better product than Facebook. And that's how you start. So before you start, you have to have the problem in mind, and you also have to have the solution where you want to arrive. It's not going to be perfect all the time. It's not going to be going according to our plan, but that is going to be our end goal. So this is why the UX part of it is very important, and it needs to be catered to. So basically, if you see UX designers in general, now it's become UX/UI designers because UX designers expected to do UI. But if you go higher up in a bigger company like Microsoft or Google or Amazon or any of these big guns, they have UX researchers separately, a UX designer separately, visual designer separately, someone to create icons, someone to do the text, someone to do the sound engineering. All of this combines into UX, right? So one person will do the user research. User research is basically, let's say, when you want to go to the gym, you don't just directly go to the gym, sign up. You want to see your options. You want to see whether the gym is good or not.
Yes, sir.
That you do some Google review, you talk to a person who goes to the gym. That talking to a person and trying to understand what matching their needs versus yours, you will have some checkpoints. This gym should have a treadmill, this gym should have a AC, it should have a hot trainer, all of this. This section should match what the gym offers, right? That is called the user research. You're researching people as to what they want. Finally, trying to incorporate that into your product. Second is personas. Personas is very key to user experience because you, as a user, when you like, if you make a design, it'll be more like you always like that design because you've been working with it. But creating personas is something like creating a random character trait and assigning a behavior to it, saying that this is persona A. this person is working here, this person is very introverted, and so on and so forth. You build a character around it and put that person in a scenario where you can see the user, you can assume how the user would react, so that we know at the worst and the best case how a user reacts. That's creating personas. Journey maps is basically creating a start point and end point and every possible screen between it. This journey map is important because you certain often tend to lose sight of what the bigger picture is, of what the core structure is, and this will help you get back to it. So once you have the journey map, which means that you already have an idea in your head, you have the concept in your head, you start by sketching it on a piece of paper, right? Saying that the first screen will have this is the login screen, this, and you show it to the stakeholder, saying that, hey, this is my idea. What do you think? Because uh, when I say box, what comes to your head? For someone, it might be the cardboard of an Amazon box. For someone,
Yes,
it
sir.
can be literally the boxing part of it. Words can often, interpret a different meaning. What we want to convey is not always what is understood by the other side. So it's always better to have a visual representation of this is what our discussion yielded. Is this right or wrong? Is this what you're thinking? Right? So we create lo-fi paper wireframes because paper wireframes simply because it is very, very easy to change a design if the and you also get to build on very fast, because when you need a tool, when you need something on the tool like Figma or XD, you have to give it some time for you to design it in a way. And as you're designing, you'll have a lot of thoughts. But on a paper, you'll have a box, which is the container, you'll have elements inside it. And this is just the simplest representation it can get. So that's a lo-fi paper wireframe. Then you go to the lo-fi wireframe where you don't include text, you don't include images. You have boxes for everything, small boxes, big boxes, lines, to represent that this is how a particular device is going to show my product. Finally, you get to the wireframes, which are basically high fidelity, which means you'll have images, you'll have text, you'll have the proper spacing, you'll not have aesthetic elements like shadows, colors, you'll not have gradients, you'll not have solid icons, you'll have very arbitrary icons, right? Once the wireframes are done, in the wireframes, you start building on design. You'll have a design system, you'll have a product that says X is my brand color, and I want X to be very, very prominent. So, for example, if you see Google's brand color is, there are 7 colors, but prominently they use the red for Gmail. And for calendar, they use multiple colors, yellow, blue, and green. And Microsoft's primary color is the blue, right? They also tend to use that very, very prominently in Office with the starting splash screen. So similarly, you have a brand color with which you start designing. You have your color guidelines, which have different types of, hierarchy of colors. Once the designing is done, you give it to the users. You take a set of 10 users who are of varied behavior, you give it to them and see how well the users are receiving it, right? When the users use your app, you get an idea of where the users are finding it difficult to navigate, where the user is getting irritated and not able to move forward because it is not simple enough, or where the user is finding it really easy to move forward because he's already used to it and doesn't need training. Once all of this is done, you then move on to giving it to the UI designers who will iron out the final cut, who will make it look stark and beautiful, who will make it look like it is an actual app and not just some lines or bars on a paper. And then they will iron it, they will give the entire data to the developers who will then develop it, right? So this whole process is what UX designers usually do. To be very honest, lot of the apps that come today are rework of an existing app. So the user research part is very minimal. Personas part is very minimal. Journey map already exists. So we often start with wireframes. But in today's world, the reason we do less wireframes and more UI design is because the design is already existing. So we just have to recreate the components. But imagine if you're creating a new, very brand new app, or in your case, a brand new game. You need the skeletal structure. Wireframes are basically that skeleton that define where the game is going. So you probably should start with the user research and wireframe.